my app to update so that I can have chat up. We're not doing a video camera because this is the kind of like the review format, and I don't like to see my face. I want to show as much of the game as possible. So, per the norm, I guess we'll talk about the game, you know, when the game got released, etc., etc., and all that, and then from there we'll play some, and I will show you the ins and outs of the game and kind of give my my overall opinion. But again, we're still waiting for this bloody app to work. After that, I will. After that, I'll tell you whether I recommend it. I mean, to be completely honest, since we're doing the Outer Worlds, if you've been watching any of my streams, then you know that I very much like this game quite a bit. Fuck, why is this not working? Alright guys, sorry for this being weird. I don't know why I'm not able to get this going. There we go. There we go. It looks like we might be live. I have no freaking idea. Well, we will just go with it as if we are. Alright, so the Outer Worlds came out on October 25th this year. It was released on all major consoles, and it was made by Obsidian Entertainment. Also, it was made in the Unreal Engine. The game itself is in kind of a first-person RPG. I've been describing it as I don't know, like Fallout Light. If any of you remember the Fallout New Vegas game that came out for the Xbox 360 way back in the day, I think Xbox 360 and PS4. It's a lot like that. So we'll jump right into it, and I'll show you what I am talking about. We're gonna jump into my campaign instead of jumping right into anything else or starting a whole new one. So the game plays a lot like the original, like Fallout New Vegas. That seems to be Obsidian's format in terms of the games that they like to make. You start out kind of as a blank slate, and you build your character based on core stats that you'll see after the loading screen. And then throughout the game, you kind of level up, and in each level you get like perks and a skill. You can level, I'm not sure what the cap is, but I am presently level 20. You can look, this is what the game looks like. It's very, very reminiscent of Fallout, but it is very, you know, it's nicer. It's a lot more pretty. Look at all this, all the attention to detail. Opening the menu, so when you start the game, you're given some core attributes that you can build on. You're given 6 points, I believe, to build up each attribute. It may be more than that. Strength, you'll see, can affect certain skills. Each of them have core skills that they correlate with, and you can build your character out from that. Following that, you're given the skills tree. You're given about 10 points free to divide up among these various skills. Each skill tree, you can level up like all the skills at once until they're level 50, after which you have to level them up by clicking the individual skill, and all of them, as you can see, go up to a master level. Every 20 levels, those skills will, you know, they'll give you something. So like you can see here with handguns, I am competent, meaning I get a little bit of a bonus to critical damage, and it's the same throughout all of these. The game itself kind of builds around how you play. So if you're more of a combat heavy person, you might get less options to talk your way out of things, right? I love dialogue. You can see if you look at how I built my character, I have a lot of sneak and intimidate and shit. This is because I like to be able to go into scenarios and like talk my way out of it. Now, like I said, you sometimes get skills, or I guess they're called perks. Every 2 levels, you're given one, or in certain scenarios, if you've hurt yourself a lot, or if you've done something in particular, you can take something called a flaw. If you take the flaw, you'll take certain negative stuff in certain situations. It might be like a perception disadvantage or what have you, but you get an additional point, like a perk point. These all have really good skills, from like 50% base health to 100% on all of your skill bonuses. Um, this is, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry standard for most RPGs, but it's very nice because a lot of none of these are useless, where you'd usually find like 5%. Most of them are 25% or higher. Here you can see just the core information. You level up using experience and etc, etc, etc. You even have a max sprint speed, which I didn't know until right now. Um, Also, another aspect of this game that they brought back is reputation. This is something that I really, really, really appreciate, that they've kind of phased out of a lot of modern RPGs. I like seeing who likes me and who doesn't like me. I recently did a mission where they did not end up liking me at the end of it, but you can do certain actions to become friendly or, disliked within these various communities. Onto the inventory. So, within the game, by the way, this is my character as it stands, and I'll show you him sans armor, but within the game you're given 4 main slots, and there are, I guess you could say, 2 types of weapons, right? Or 3. You have your standard weapons, you have your science weapons, and you have your like epic weapons. So epic weapons are denoted, or epic items I guess, are denoted by these colors. Science weapons are denoted by this color and symbol, and then you've got your standard weapons, and you have your typical, shooter range of weapons and melee weapons. I personally love the Inferno Scythe, but pistols, there's plasma weapons, shotguns, heavy. The armor, the ammo is divided into light, heavy, and energy, and the science weapons operate on that ammo but have special effects. So like you have weapons that will take control of someone's mind or what have you. You also have armor in this game. Also, same thing with with the recent Fallout games. You can upgrade all of these things with they're kind of like standard upgrades. So instead of like in Fallout learning more and more and more and being able to upgrade, in this one you just attach them. So you have armor. Let's see, this is what I look like. You do in the character creation, I did forget to mention this, but you are able to create a face, and while it's it's kind of detailed, it's not amazing. It's one of those games where you don't really see yourself, so they didn't pay a huge amount of detail. It is about as deep as Fallout 4's and no deeper. You also have your typical health system in this game. You can unlock more. The more science you have, the more consumables you can use. So for example, equipping that will allow me to take that should I so desire. Here are the modifications. Like I mentioned before, you just equip these at a standard workstation to your weapons and armor, and that gives them various effects. There are slots essentially, so like you can see that handle is highlighted. That's where that would go, or like the ammo or the scope and so on. There's hacking and lockpicking, and these general parts have to do with that, as well as creating and upgrading weapons. Just like in Fallout, you have weapon and armor parts. It's a little more streamlined, but that's kind of the only 2 things you need to upgrade and repair your weapons. Going on, journal is your quest log. Really simple. There's a wealth of quests that you can do. I've done quite a few. Let me just boop. And so you can go through their companion quests, faction quests, side quests. You can see them all there and do them at your leisure. Really, I like to do a lot of side quests, so that's probably what you've seen me do if you've been watching the streams. It's typical map. And then in this game, as opposed to some of the other ones you may have played, you have 2 companions actually at your disposal. So you can, I'm going to give him that one, but these 2 companions accompany you, and you kind of have to bring them along on those side quests, the journal quests. What are they? They're called companion quests, in order to complete them. These are 2 of them. This is Vicar Max and Felix. Vicar Max was obviously a vicar at in one of the first towns you go to, and Felix you meet in the second town, and he's a big fan of what you're doing, so he kind of joins you. Well, you can choose to let him join you. There are, so far as I've played, which is about 20 hours, there are 7 squad mates. They join your ship, the Unreliable, and you have to do some quests to unlock them. The game itself handles very much like a Fallout game. It is, right click to do damage. You build your character up. You start off as a nobody. I would describe it as Fallout in space. The one big complaint, and you'll probably notice it here during this playthrough, is there are so many loading screens. There are so many loading screens. There are far too many of them, um, and they take quite a while. The PlayStation 4, which is what I'm playing on, fires up pretty loud, trying to get through a lot of them, and I don't appreciate, especially live streaming, having those long lulls. I think that may be more of a problem of live streaming, but even some other people that I've played the game with or I've showed the game to have made comment about how the loading screens seem to take forever. There is brief, textural loading issues, but that has become largely common in games nowadays. So, you kind of gotta forgive it. It's nowhere near as bad as Borderlands 3, but from time to time, you'll find some kind of issues. I'm trying to decide what we should go and do. But we're gonna do just a side quest to show you guys kind of what the combat looks like and what the gameplay looks like. This is the ship that you're given early game, and people, you can see that there are peeps throughout here. There's one there. And you can talk to them. This game does seem... There's Sam. This is a robot that you can unlock. But what's cool about this game, and I'm not going to be able to show it with any of them because I have talked them to death, but you can really get to know characters. So here's an example.
Byzantium, there's something
Perfect,
I've been
actually.
meaning to do.
So in this situation, she's going to ask me to do a companion quest, and this is how you unlock them. You actually have to talk to them. You can see some of the graphical issues that I'm talking about in the back there, and unfortunately, while this game has improved on it some, it still does suffer from the Fallout, I guess you could call it also the Obsidian issue of the characters not seeming lifelike.
I haven't actually talked to my folks in
You
a
can
while.
see that
Shocking,
while her
right?
lips move, there's not a very
Anyway, it's probably about time I
human
take
facial
them a visit,
expression,
given the dangerous life
and
I lead.
even
I've
characters that
heard
are
say.
shot that you can interact with don't seem to react
Which brings us to where we are today.
appropriately,
several
I guess
messages
would
and
be
a
the right
few
word.
years
But
later.
all in all, they've really improved
See, I'm
upon
originally
the
from Byzantium, born and raised.
on one
I know
second,
that
chat. Let me
probably comes
just...
as
You're
a
gonna
big
have to retype
surprise.
that. I wasn't paying attention to chat. Sorry about that. I have not been aware. Anyway, the game, it's this has become more of a part of the game, was what I was saying. See, you originally blah blah blah. So
Yeah, exactly.
this dialogue has become much more of a thing. It is a single player game. Unfortunately, there is no multiplayer aspect. It very much, it feels like a successor to Fallout. I guess Fallout New Vegas, if you were to put it in a new wrapper. Thanks for the question, Yuki. He asked if it was a single or multiplayer game, just for people that don't see the chat. But as I was saying, the communication in this game seems to be way more important than in Fallout. Whereas in Fallout you can
I was thinking you'd
clearly
come
see the
too.
dialogue tree that will lead you to the path you want. This one, it requires a lot more thought. I've spent a lot of time on stream debating, what to do. Why would you want me to meet your parents? Sure,
Because
it would be fun.
great.
So
And
this
when
is a
we get
perfect
there,
example of what I was
draw out
talking
your
to
rough edges a
sooner,
bit.
or I was talking about
If you've got
earlier.
an outfit you
I
haven't
will
washed
have
in
to
a while,
bring
maybe
her
one
to
with
this
some
mission in order
bloodstains,
for
wear that one.
it to trigger. Otherwise, they'll just look at you like you have,
You're the-
6 heads.
Anything?
I'm going to leave for right now, but I definitely have more I'd like to talk to her about. So here's the screen, and we can go through all of the companions. Actually, that's really convenient. So you have Sam. This is the robot that I was talking about. Oh, so yes, it's totally worth the price, and I'll get to that I'll actually get to that. I'll address that more at the end. But so we have Sam. He's a robot. This was Vicar Max. You saw him earlier. He is he was a priest. He ends up joining your crew. This is Parvati. She is the engineer. She is hands down my favorite companion. She's funny. That's pretty much it. You have Nyoka. She's the most recent companion. You get her on what I believe could be called the third world you're supposed to visit, but you can play this game in a much more liberal style. I kind of try to finish off a world or a faction and then go to the next one. But you could easily have gotten her sooner. Felix, you get him, as I mentioned earlier. He's kind of a ruffian, and he has some debts to settle, which you do on an abandoned world. And Ellie, which you just saw me speak to, and she is more of a medic. Ellie and Parvati, this is my favorite combo to travel with. Like I said, a big, long loading screen. Like I said earlier, the game itself came out October 25th, so it's a pretty recent release. You're only really going to find it at about $60 to $55. That'd be new and used, respectively. But if you don't catch it on like Super Sale or whatever, it is 100% worth the price. I guess we're going to get into like the my opinion section. Marceline, stop. I guess we're going to get into the my opinion section of this a little early before we show the combat. But so yeah, I absolutely think the game is worth the price. If you've seen my any of my streams previously, you'll know I love the game. I love how in depth the creators have gone to really build this world out. The critiques I would have, I think, would be the first two planets, the first two major conflicts, feel largely the same. It is two factions that have split, and you have to resolve it. Not that it just doesn't feel original. It's fun, do not get me wrong, but it doesn't feel original whatsoever. I actually really do appreciate the mechanic, the new mechanic of like repairing, tinkering, and modifying, because it's much more streamlined. So for example, if I wanted to upgrade this flamethrower, I can just slap one of these on it, and then it's on it. It's done. I don't have to go kind of wild. I would say definitely buy this game if you have the finances to buy it. I'm really hoping we can get into a conflict somewhere here. But this seems to be a very prim and proper settlement. I'm almost certain that I can't even steal from anyone here. Yeah. But we want to get into a fight so I can show you conflict and what they did with what I could only call their new VATS system, I guess you could call it that. It looks like this. Right? I'm not going to fire because that will probably set off the guards, and while I'm not doing a like good playthrough, I am doing a neutral, chaotic, or lawful evil kind of playthrough, and that means not causing unnecessary ruckus. Oh fuck, this is definitely a town. Yeah. So, I guess this is just good to show off like all the world building that they've done. This is the most advanced town I have been to so far. I mean, look at this. This is magic. Not exactly what we're looking for, but it's okay. I think what we'll do is we'll save, and then I will start shooting people. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to show you guys the combat real quick. Get ready for this, because that just saved. But I'm going to save again, which means you guys are going to lose me for about 1 second as I save, so we don't die. Alright, ready for this? I think what we'll do is we'll start by showing you how this VATS works. See how it shows blinding? If I were to fire, he's blind now. And it stacks. So combat runs much more similar to Fallout New Vegas. You have like the iron sights. The AI acts very similar. And they even have a VATS system. Like I was not wrong, I don't think, in my, I guess, assertion that this is Fallout in space. I've never seen this weapon before, but this is I guess, an electric, some kind of special weapon. I've never used it. This is one of the science weapons, but. Yeah. Oh, it freezes them. That's very interesting. But yeah, this is what the combat looks like. It is, you know, shooting downwind until you want to use this VATS system. You aim down with the VATS, and then you do whatever damage you chose to do. So, like, you can blind them, cripple them, or what have you. He's dead. This one, oh, I don't have it, but this is the most GTA thing I've ever done in this game, by the way. But we're gonna load it in a second. Sorry, I totally missed that. But yeah, so that's what combat would look like. I mean, they do fire back as you saw. I have found that there is one issue with I guess the scaling of this game, and that is that you can level pretty quick if you just do side quests, and if you do all the side quests, you end up like God mode. Like you notice none of the town guard even stood a chance. I've done no unnecessary grinding. I've just played the side quests and done pretty much everything that I can because I really enjoy this world. So, all in all, I mean, it's a little broken that way. Oh, shit. For new gamers, so the question, if you're not seeing it, was from Yuki, and he says, would I recommend it to new gamers? Yeah, I think so. I've shown it to one person who I would say is a bit of a new gamer, and I mean, I haven't had her play or anything, but she very much gravitated towards it. It is more simple than Fallout 4, that's for sure, and it is it's fun. The combat is not overly hard. Since you have the iron sights like this, you're not having to do that like hip fire aim nonsense that some older RPGs, especially shooter RPGs, have. And in terms of like choosing and making the decisions for a character, it's also very streamlined because you're selecting from these at least for the first 10 to 15 levels. The perks are they explain everything, and every time, you won't see it here, but every time you see something new, you get a little like notification that that's my dog. She's I guess excited that my roommate's home. But you get a notification that something has been unlocked, and then it explains it, right? So it'll say something to the effect of like, welcome to the main menu. Here you can blah 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 all about the weapons. Yeah, but I think at this point it's a good time to kind of render judgment in a loading screen. That would be really good. Marceline, baby girl, come here. You okay? My goodness. Alright. But so it's a good time to probably render judgment here on the game, and obviously I think you know where I'm gonna go. It is an amazing fucking game.
I think the Privy's
Like
gold-plated
it, I would highly recommend it to new gamers, old gamers, and pretty much anybody that just wants to enjoy a good first-person experience and loves RPGs, because you kind of get a good bit of both. Yeah, that's pretty much it, and I'm gonna keep streaming it, so I definitely, definitely come and check it out. You'll get to see way more of the game, way more of the story. The story itself is great, but I don't want to talk too much on it because I obviously haven't experienced much. It's only been a couple of planets. I will say though that the writing is excellent. The writing so far seems to be really good, and the characters, while like I said, not reacting appropriately, they definitely seem vibrant and alive. But yeah, other than that, go out and buy it if you have the money, and yeah, tune in for the podcast. That'll be happening in about an hour or so. I did not see that one again. I'm sorry. I will be doing the podcast in about an hour or so, and that will be from the computer. You will see me. You'll be able to see my face and everything. Hope you had fun. Hope this helped you kind of understand what the game was about. And yeah, peace. It has been a lot of fun, guys.